Hi, and welcome to the Alice Chin podcast. This is episode 12, 2017, and we are sitting with Alice Chin again. Alice, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How about you, Bill?
I'm doing great, This one I'm excited about in more ways than one. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you laugh. We got some good stuff on this one, so let's go. What was 2017 like for Alice Chin?
Sales were still increasing slowly generally in the market. I always like to start with the market stats. New homes by 9% and existing by 1% only year over year.
Okay.
And then lowest inventory since 99. It was
Wow.
at 3.2 months of inventory.
Okay.
So we didn't really know what low inventory was at that time.
Yeah.
You know, we have very low inventory now, as you know.
Right.
And that's why it's kind of funny a little bit.
So when you say 3.2 months, for a layman's term, what does that mean to people out there?
That means that in order to get through all of the homes, all the inventory that was currently on the market, it would take about 3 months, just a little over 3 months.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
To absorb that inventory, to get it all sold. Yep.
Okay.
And then historically low rates, still in the fours, and encouraged buyers. And then it was hindered by the lack of inventory. So
yeah.
And then that year we closed almost 47 million, just
great,
6.5, so more than the previous year.
Yeah.
And that was actually the team's best year until 2022. So that was kind of like the peak, if you will. And then our average sale price was about the same. It ticked up a little bit to about 350.
Okay.
So again, still doing a lot of transactions.
Yeah.
Churning them out.
So what does that look like in units, like volume wise?
I think it was off the top of my head, 128 units.
Good.
It's crazy.
Wow, that's
like
that's
a hamster
great.
on a wheel.
Yeah, right. That's great.
So very different today, but we'll get to that. But yeah, it was a very busy time. And we just were taking orders and trying to best manage the clients that we had, really, because time was always at a shortage. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So teammate wise, we were now at KW, if you remember.
Yep.
And this is when I was rebuilding the team, because we had just left the fall prior. And so I was still finding my way is what I like to call it. Okay. So I was still going through a lot of admins. I was trying to I had one solid admin at the time, and I was trying to find a second one and possibly a third one. So we did go through a lot of frogs before we found like the right people. And that took its toll because it was, there was one person that only lasted 2 days.
Oh my.
Yeah.
2 days.
2 days. Yeah.
Fast one.
Mm-hmm. So if you go through like the year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, there was 13 or 14 names that like some came and went and then some came and stayed, for a short period of time or a longer period of time. But yeah, again, none of these people are on the team anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Out of 13.
Out of 13. So this was 8 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
13 or 14. I might have lost one in there.
There's somebody floating around there.
Somebody. Yep. There are a couple of stories actually. Before we get to the really good one. There was one team member that we had to ask her to part ways because of something ethical. So okay. I'm trying to explain and remember the story. So we had the listing, I think, and it was at a time where it was still rare to get multiple offers. Yeah. Okay. But this one listing, it was in a price range where it was affordable. And I think we had, at least 2 offers at the time. And then a buyer lead came in and I didn't do dual agency. So then I gave it to this team member to work with that buyer. Well, the buyer ended up being interested as well. And she wanted to submit an offer for the buyer. So I treated it the same as the other 2 offers. I didn't tell her any information. And then later on, I found out that she tried to snoop in Dropbox to see like Bill.
Okay.
To see what the other offers are, things which is a giant no-go, right? And so now we have measures in place, where we, other team members, if they're representing buyer, they can't access, like personal items or information about like the seller or or why are they selling, things like that, right?
How did you find that, like on the Dropbox? Like,
I think she made a mistake and like let it slip, like in conversation.
Okay.
That like, and I was like, how would she have known that? So it got me started to think.
Right.
And then I was like, the only way she would have known that is if she looked in the file.
Okay.
Yeah. So not good.
Yeah.
So she didn't ultimately get the house. It was one of the other offers. And I was actually hoping that it would work out that way because I don't want to be accused of like playing favorites. Do you know what I mean? Like that's very awkward.
Yeah, right.
And so after that, I did have to let her go and I explained, and I don't really know if she understood like the reason, honestly.
Okay.
So
how did that conversation go? Like when you approached?
I was very it was a private conversation, of course, one-on-one, and I was very transparent and direct. And I said, the situation that we had a few days ago or a week ago, however long it was, that was not okay, and you shouldn't have looked in the file. And that is a giant no-go.
Did she admit it at that point?
She did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she said, I did
but
look at it.
She didn't really, I don't think she really saw what the problem was, to be honest, which was a huge problem in and of itself. Mm-hmm. And so then I said, I have a zero tolerance for that, and I can't put my name and reputation at risk. And it's an ethics thing, and so we got to part ways.
And what was her response at that point?
It was pretty typical. Most agents and most team members, when we part ways, I don't know if it's like a gut reaction, but they want to like almost like convince you to keep them.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit of that in the beginning, and I just had to stick to my guns.
Yeah.
And then it was fine.
Yeah.
We parted ways.
Well, as you're talking, I'm seeing the person, the business owner, Alice, coming out and saying, I got to separate the personal with the business. And this is the beauty of watching and listening to your journey, is that you see this early on, that you allowed people in, but you're tightening up your boundaries very, very quickly, making could be hard decisions in an early on career, but you're making it like right away, cutting it.
I tried
great to hear.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to.
Yeah. How'd you feel when you did that? Were you kind of getting like, oh, this is just normal, or?
No, I mean, I didn't want to do it, but it was one of those things. I was also feeling pressure from a couple of my other teammates in a good way, like, because they found out too, and they were like, it's not acceptable, And so I think it made it easier because I knew that if I didn't part ways with this agent, that then it would set a bad precedent. And then like, what does that say about me as a leader? Yeah. So I was almost forced to, because if I didn't do it, then it just would not look good. Yeah.
That is exactly what I'm dealing with right now.
Really?
It's not more of an ethical thing, but you hear from the other team members. And if you hear a consistent theme and you don't address it, then you lose the integrity of your own leadership, right?
Correct.
And
it's hard to see, like, because when you're in it, Bill, it's hard to see it from like an outsider perspective, looking in, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because you're like in the middle of it, you're in the thick of it. And so when you're in that position, it's hard to be like, well, that person specifically is the toxicity, or that person is the cause of not all the problems, but like is a major part of the problems, right?
Yeah.
And it's also hard to see, like, if we separate from that person, what is that going to look like? Is that really going to solve it, or is it just part of a larger problem? So these are all the questions that you have to ask yourself as a business owner, right? At the time, I didn't know. Right. But at the time, she was not like the only problem, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So my team at the time was not great. We were not gelling. We were a lot of people.
Right.
But culturally, functionally, it wasn't a good vibe. Yeah. Generally speaking. So she wasn't like the only, problem or issue.
Usually there's more than one, and then you just have to cut the cancer out. and then start looking at
and
the
then
other
start
systems.
seeing like, okay, yeah, exactly, right, yeah, and start seeing like what else is the problem.
This is great. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, great, but at the time, it's not.
No, it wasn't. Right? It was not easy. Yep. And then I also had to get rid of one of the admins, and that was hard because I had hired her on to be like our marketing admin, and our office space was super small at the time and restricted, and so we didn't have enough space for her on the same floor. We were on the second floor, I think. And so I got her a space on the first floor. And not really convenient because every time I had to talk to her, I had to go up and downstairs, you know. Yeah. Okay. So it was very awkward, and I've learned my lesson, I think. She was a past client. And so again, I have a bleeding heart. I was like, she'll be great. You know, not really going through the proper interview channels and metrics.
Sticking to what you built.
No. Yeah. So I hired her on thinking it'll be great. Everything will be fine. Right. And she wasn't a good fit, meaning like she wasn't self-motivated. She wasn't, what is it called? She didn't propel herself. Yeah. She didn't take initiative. Right. The team members that have been successful on my team, they all have self-drive. Okay. No matter what. And she just didn't have it. And I had to tell her what to do, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And then, it's adult babysitting.
Yes.
Right.
And the cherry on top was one day she would just leave too. Like, so she was an employee. She wasn't an independent contractor. Okay. So she wasn't an agent. So she was an employee. I was paying her. Okay. And so she would just leave the office without telling me. Okay. And I don't know if it was because she was just on a different floor, so she thought I wouldn't notice, or I'm not really sure. But like the straw that broke the camel's back was it was one afternoon at like 2:00 or 3:00 in the afternoon, middle of the afternoon. Okay. Never said anything to me like, hey, I have to leave to go to a doctor. I mean, it could have been anything. Okay. Never said anything to me, just left for the day. And I went downstairs to find her to be like, hey, what's the update on whatever it was we're working on marketing wise? Didn't find her. She was nowhere to be seen. And her workspace looked like a bomb went off, Bill. Like there was personal stuff everywhere. It literally looked like she had moved in, like physically moved in. Okay. Into the space, the cubicle desk area. And then she had like a half-eaten bonbon. I'm not even joking. This is not a made-up story. Half-eaten bonbon on a little like tray, like a mug of like tea that looked like it was probably 2 days old. And I was like, where did you go?
Yeah.
This 3:00 in the afternoon.
Where did you go and why did you leave it like this? Like, okay.
So that's when I knew it was time to part ways. And that did not go well. A lot of people, we haven't talked about this, but when things don't go well, the first line of defense that most people do is they unfriend me on social media.
Okay.
Unfriend, yes. Yeah. Or they'll block me. You know, that's the other thing they'll do. Yep. Okay. They'll block me. Yep. And so unfortunately, she was a past client and I thought we were on good terms, but after the whole parting of ways, she unfriended me on every platform known to man. And I don't think she blocked me, but she definitely unfriended me. Yeah. And yeah, that was it.
So when you approached her, like how did that conversation go?
I sat her down again, one-on-one. It was private. And I kind of just explained kind of where my thought process was. And I just said I don't think this is not working. Okay. And again, I let it go on for too long. I think she was maybe on the team for at least 6 months. Like I should never have let it go on for 6-7 months. Yeah. I should have nipped it in the bud at like month 2, 3, maybe, you know? Yeah. So I just kind of let it fester and then, which is never a good thing. And then I just said, these are the things that I've noticed. I did have a list, you know, and then I just said, this is not a good fit. Yeah. And similarly to most of the people that I let go, she was very upset. And she said, I've never been let go before in my life. Yep. And she's older, you know, And she just said, I can't believe this. And it was a mess. It was not good. Yeah, not great.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I hate about like running a business, being a team lead is that.
Yeah. Because like when you're explaining that, I'm hearing the human side of the response that she has. That's kind of one of the reasons why I want to hear it. Because people have lives. Everybody's got their own life, and so when you hear that, it's kind of crushing. But as a business owner, you have to separate that. The biggest battle is between the head and the heart.
You have to make that tough decision. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
All right. So after that.
Then we got to a good point with the admin team. So we had 3 steady admins for a while. Mm-hmm. But it was not until it was January. So I'm going back in time a little bit. So it was January of that same year. Where I had a falling out this was before I kind of settled on like 3 good admins, like later on in 2017.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, I had a major falling out, with, a lady who was actually my best friend for a very, very long time. So she started in the business with me actually at Coldwell Banker, in 2005 or 6. And then we actually partnered. If you remember from a previous episode, we partnered for a little bit, like a year, you know.
During Coldwell Banker years.
During Coldwell Banker years, in the very, very beginning. Does it ring a bell?
Okay. Sure does.
And then, we would always bounce ideas off of each other. We would always ask each other for like advice, and we were friends. We were very, very close friends. So then she went to work, I think at an attorney's office for a little bit, and helped with like short sales and things like that. And she was amazing at what she did. And then her and that attorney kind of parted ways. I want to say it was either in 2015 or 2016. And then her and I were just still talking, and she was doing other things and working somewhere else. And then finally I said, why don't you come on? Again, not a good move because I didn't take her through the proper channels again, right? Like that's the lesson learned, right? I didn't go through, she was my friend. So I just hired her instead of saying, no, we got to do this the right way.
Right.
Let's take you through the interview process right now. So I hired her just right away and to be like, I think the transaction coordinator at the time. And it was terrible fit. I mean, terrible. And because she was my friend, it was so difficult for me to be like, this is a big mistake, Oh,
God.
And so I let that fester for a while until I just couldn't anymore. Her work style was just very different. She worked late at night. She would like not show up until like really late in the mornings. Sometimes, I hate to say it, but disheveled, and so I finally had to let her go it was January or February of 2017.
Oh, that's gotta be,
it was terrible.
Probably one of the hardest, right?
Yep. And that was the end of our friendship. I mean, honestly, that was the end of our friendship. Yeah. So she tried to basically not extort me. That's too strong a word, but kind of. She said, well, you owe me X, Y, and Z, this amount of money. And instead of arguing with her, because to me, I was going to argue with her. And this is one of the moments where my husband stepped in and he was like, lady, he's like, you could argue with her, but how much time is that going to take up? And how much additional stress is that going to add? The other option is this is the amount of money she's asking. Give it to her, have her sign something saying like, no, this is the end of the line.
End of the line.
Yep.
Okay.
Have your attorney draft it up, which I did. And then he's like, and just call it a day. So that's what I did. And that was the end of the friendship. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
pretty terrible.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to that because that's like, we all have friends. We all think that they would be great as business partners, right? Because they're friends.
Yeah.
But there's a line that you cannot cross many times, and I've actually had this with friends that I can't say their name, but they became realtors, and then I literally had to fire them like right away. Like, and it's only because of the fact that they overstepped the boundary, and
it did. Yeah.
You have to draw the line. So
yeah, there was a lot going on that year. There were just tons of people in the mix, tons of personalities. I learned a lot, not only about like who I work well with and what type of person and working styles and culture, and also like how to find out very quickly in the process if somebody is a good fit or not.
Okay.
And then to cut the cord as soon as possible and try to not let it fester because it's not good for anybody.
Right.
So I learned a lot that year. Yeah.
So let's pause right there and tell me, what is the type of person you like to work with? And like how, like, I know you went through and you said, I'm going to take a chance on this without going through my normal routine.
Yep.
Like, what does that look like for Alice Chen as far as the person that fits your model?
Yeah. So the person that fits my model today, right? I'm very clear on that, is somebody who is a problem solver by nature, likes to problem solve, and is self-motivated. Like I said, self-driven, and obviously likes to work with people because that's fundamental in our job, no matter if you're an admin or if you're an actual agent, a real estate agent. And somebody who is honest, of course, right? Ethical, has a high moral fiber. And that's pretty much it. Everything else I can teach them, strategies, language, scripts. I can teach them all that. But I can't teach motivation. I can't teach, honesty. I can't teach those. Those have to be innate.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. So how do you find these, like you said early on, if I know how to find it early on, whether they're a fit or not, what are the red flags for you?
Red flags for me is so we have a very intense onboarding system, no matter if they're an agent or an admin. And so if we train them and we onboard them, they're probably still going to have questions. Okay. But if they keep asking, and there are stupid questions. You know how the saying, oh, there's no stupid questions? There are stupid questions, actually. I've decided.
Okay.
If they keep asking stupid questions, okay, where you're like, I know I've answered this 3 times already. All right, then that's a huge red flag because it means that something is not clicking in their mind and they're not thinking critically, right? And they're not. So my current team members, they know if they have a problem, whatever it is, they better have thought of at least two possible ways to resolve it before coming to me.
Okay.
So when they approach me, because my office is on the 2nd floor of my building. So when they come up the stairs, right? If I may be on the phone, I might not be, I just do this.
Just the two.
Yeah. And then they're like, no, I have it. I'm like, okay, then come on it, Yeah.
I love it. There's sign language.
I smile. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. What if they say no? Do you turn around?
No.
Just kidding. Oh my gosh.
Come back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that is fundamental, I've realized. Yeah. Because we can't, it's almost like a habit. It's a forming a habit, right? So if the habit is formed that they just instinctively go to me whenever they have any problem, that is not good. That is a huge issue. You want them to be able to, and I tell them that. I don't want you to be robots. Like, I need you to think for yourself, right? That is the epitome of a good agent, that you know the solution. I have confidence in you. If you need a sounding board to be like, hey, Alice, this is what I'm thinking. This is the problem. This is where I'm thinking. Am I in the right direction? I'm totally fine with that.
Right.
But I can't have you coming to me just for the answer all the time.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, we're just really hitting some really good points because this is exactly what I'm dealing with. I have somebody on my team right now.
Show them too.
It's true though. Like, because I'm here so there's a little theme here that your team around the person that's asking the stupid questions, which now I'm going to say that to my team, is going to let you know that they're asking stupid questions too. So you hear it. You hear the common denominator and you're going, okay, listen.
We've been through this.
We've been through this. Like, don't ask either figure it out
or write it down. Like take notes. I don't know, record it so you can come back to it later.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not really sure what the solution is, but the solution is not asking us over and over again.
Yeah. My brother would always say that to me as well. When I was that guy. It was the guy that was asking the question. Come to me with the problems, like be resourceful. Like, what would you do if I wasn't here? What would you do? You know?
Exactly.
So I think those are very, very solid points.
Yeah. So now we have to get to the meat of the episode.
Here we go.
I have two really funny stories. Actually.
Okay. All right. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Not
from 2017. So I have to paint the picture first.
Okay.
Right. So the first story is, we took a family trip to Italy. It was August of 2017. And remember from the last episode, I had talked about the listing on Hazel, right? Okay.
Yeah, the 5 year
plan. Yeah. So that listing we still had. Okay. And like all luxury listings, we didn't have a lockbox. So we were showing the listing. Okay. And I was in Italy, so it couldn't be me, obviously, showing the listing. So there was another agent on my team, Britta, who showed the listing during this time. So she would go there, she would turn the lights on, kind of set the stage, everything. And there were several agents that showed during that week. And so I have to paint the picture. My husband was driving. We only had our daughter at the time. She was 4. She was in the back seat sleeping, thank goodness, passed out. And my husband was driving a rental car. It was stick shift on the other side of the road and going up the Amalfi Coast. So literally it's off. I mean, if you just are a couple of inches to the left, we would have fallen off the cliff. Okay.
And not just a normal car driving on the opposite side. You have a stick shift. So there's
stick shift. Yep. And up a cliff, basically. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful, but
beautiful,
dangerous.
but dangerous.
Very dangerous. Yeah. So I'm on the passenger side. Okay. And I'm not on a phone call, but I'm still doing work. I'm texting people for feedback. I'm, asking people like what they thought, because we had several showings that week. Right. And so one of the agents, he was a buyer agent that showed the house and he gave me feedback. He just said, oh, it was a nice house or whatever it was that he said. It was very normal. Okay. And I said, okay, great. Thank you so much. All right. And then I went back to my text with Britta to say, okay, I got the feedback. This is what he thought. Can you update the client on your phone call with them and then just kind of let me know? And then her and I continued talking about some other aspects of the business, right? Catching up via text. Okay. All of a sudden, as her and I are talking, via text, I get a picture from that agent.
The buyer's agent?
The agent who showed the house.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And it was a picture of his dick.
Oh, okay.
I screamed and I threw the phone and I think the phone went into the side of the car, the seat of the car. And my husband looks over and is like, what in the world? Right? Like, what? He's like, I'm trying to not kill us right now on the cliff. And I didn't think it was an appropriate time to tell him because he was driving. He needed to focus. So I just said,
he's dealing with his own stick shift.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, I'll tell you later when we get to the gas station or something, the destination. And so he gives me a weird look and is like, okay, and my daughter's still asleep in the back. Thank goodness. So we get to the gas station and, meanwhile, I'm texting Britta and I'm like, you just never guess what would just happen. And she was like, what? And I was like, I tell her and she was like, no way. You didn't
forward it to her?
No, she didn't believe me. She didn't believe me.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So then, she didn't believe me. She was just like, I cannot believe that. Like, what in the world? And so then we park at the gas station. I still remember this. And then my husband goes, so what? Like, why were you screaming? Right. And I said, I need to show it to you because otherwise you're not going to believe me and you're going to think I made it up or you're going to have my phone later and think like,
oh yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah. What's going on
What's going on here? You know, some funny business.
Yeah. Right.
So I explained to him and I show him and he was just like, oh my, he was like,
I know him.
No, he was like, okay. So then anyways, the agent finally did realize. I mean, it was only like a couple minutes later, but he was like, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That was meant for my girlfriend or something like that." And instead of being like,
did he text you or did he call you?
No, he texted me.
He just texted.
He just said, "Oh my gosh, yeah." And so then
this is before you could actually edit and erase, right? Okay, so that's still, no, it's not still on your phone.
Probably. I don't know. Who knows? I haven't looked. Don't worry.
Right.
So I think I must have said the stupidest response, okay? Instead of being like, okay, or like, I don't know, something innocuous, I said, "Don't worry about it. It happens all the time." And I told my husband later, and he was like, "Why in the world? Why would you say that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I panicked." You know, like in those moments where you just have like a sheer panic.
Oh,
and you're like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that, but like it just came out." Like,
I'm picturing like a thumbs up with an eggplant right next to it after that too.
I know. No, I did not say that.
Ting, ting, ting.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's that story. Then there was another story. It's not as good as that one, but it's still very, very good.
All right.
Okay, so I had another luxury listing. Something with these luxury listings I'm figuring out.
You know, they're always on the crime junkies. I mean, the Indianapolis guy, I remember he had mannequins in his house. Crazy.
No, there was no mannequins in the store.
Right,
okay. So this was another one that I had to show in person. And another home that I had to show in person. And essentially, I was the only listing agent, I think. I didn't have a co-listing agent at the time. It was not my policy yet. And so different agent, obviously, texted me and said, "Hey, I'd like to show it tomorrow at 12 o'clock or whatever." And I said, "Okay, great. Send me over the pre-approval because of the price range, and I will meet you there. Okay, see you then." So then she says, "Actually, by the way, do you know how many clocks are in this house?"
How many clocks?
Clocks, like actual physical clocks, like time clocks.
Okay.
Because my buyer doesn't like clocks. And so I'm going to need you.
Maybe he was a serial killer. I don't know.
I'm going to need you to go in, find every single clock, and put them away. And I went, "Huh?" I was like, no. Like, you mean like actual physical clocks? Like, are we talking about like just regular clocks or like digital clocks, like all clocks?
TikToks.
Clocks
exactly. You hear like what about the grandfather clock?
Exactly.
I mean, what are you going to do with that?
And so like, I don't know. I don't take notice of how many clocks my clients have. And so I'm like, I'm going to have to physically go in. My clients thankfully weren't living there anymore. Like their furniture was still there, some of their furniture, but they weren't like actively living there.
Okay.
They had already moved
partially.
And so I was like, oh, I have to go in and like, I don't know. I have to count the clocks. And then I'm going to have to figure out where to put them. Like there was one giant clock like in the family. I'm like, where am I going to put this? Okay. So I said, "Oh, okay." And so I remember I posted about it on social media and, you know, to like all of my friends and everything and everybody. Oh, they had a heyday. They were like, "Is the client Captain Hook? Like what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are your plans today, Alice? Like, are you going to count? Where are you going to hide all the clocks? Right?"
Yeah.
And they're like, the clocks they make noise unless they're silent clocks. Like, what are you going to do? Like, cover them with a cloak?
Yeah. Right.
And so luckily the agent, I never found out because the agent ended up canceling the showing. So I was getting ready. I was getting ready to go over there and hide all the clocks.
Well,
that was the most bizarre thing ever.
Did she ever can they give you a reason why?
The only thing I can think of is in certain cultures, like the Chinese culture that I know, clocks are not a good thing.
Really?
So you should not gift clocks to somebody. Well, it's a totally different story. We're going down like a whole nother rabbit hole, but there are a lot of gifts in the Chinese culture that you should not give because they mean death. So it's a running joke on my team that like everything means death because you should not give pears as gifts.
I gotta write this.
You should not give clocks.
I probably killed I probably sent death threats to a bunch of people in, right?
There's so many things. You should definitely not give knives.
Okay, so Cutco, I did that one year. I sent Cutco knives out because that's no offense to Cutco, but
Yeah, that's knives.
Nice.
That's why I don't order Cutco knives. Yeah. I love that.
Sorry, all those Cutco reps.
Sorry. Yep.
Andy Burton.
Sorry. But yep. So clocks, that's the only thing I can think of, is that it means death in certain cultures. And maybe they saw it as a bad omen, maybe. I don't know.
That's good to know. You don't think of that when you're just doing your normal, hey, you're buying a house, but there's that cultural thing that you have to think about.
There is. But at the time it was very interesting and and a little bit funny, honestly.
Did you ever find out how many clocks that were in the house?
Yes, they were a good number. I think it was 5.
Okay.
And out of the 5, 2 were fairly large. So I'm not really sure.
So like grandfather clock.
Not that big, but there was one that was like hanging on the 2-story like fire pole. I don't know how I would have gotten that down.
How would you get that down?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I would have called my husband. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. The more we talk, your husband, we got to hang out. We hung out a little bit, but he's an amazing guy.
He is.
Sounds like he's a great spouse to kind of talk reason with you too.
He is. Yes. He grounds me. I call him the person that is the calming force in my life.
Yeah. That's how I feel about
He's always like, he reins me back. Like,
yep. I mean, I think that's a good, happy balance. I mean, you have to have one that's a driver and one that's
me. No, that one kill each other.
Yeah, that's. I've been through a lot of toxic relationships like that, where it's like, okay, that person is exactly like me. It's not going to work.
Not a good fit. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're past. I got so many things I could say that would rhyme, like clocks and
blank.
Yeah. So, but how else did 2017
2017 was non-eventful besides like those few things. And yeah, I would say we were still at Keller Williams. I was kind of just getting the lay of the land, so to speak, of KW culture and how things were structured. And I was learning a lot about how a team should be properly structured. Yeah. That was also during the time where I had what are called ISAs, inside sales agents.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've heard about that. I don't have ISAs anymore, but at the time I did. It was very hot. It was a hot commodity at the time. And so those are people that would basically be dialing all day, every day.
Okay.
It's probably exhausting, I can imagine. So they called cancel expireds. They called the database. They called inbound leads. They followed up with people, right? And it was something that worked for a while. It worked until it didn't work anymore. And, but during that time, 2016, 17, even 18 was during the time period where I had at least 2 full-time ISAs.
Okay.
There was a time where I had almost 3. Actually.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I never knew that.
Yeah. So they made on average outbound calls. They made an average because they were on a triple dialer. So they would make anywhere from 400 to 600 calls a day. It was insane.
400 to 600 calls a day. How do you do that? Like,
on a triple dialer. I mean,
triple dial. What's a triple?
So triple dialer is basically it's a dialer system that calls 3 numbers at the same time. And then if one doesn't pick up, so you'll be notified if one goes to a voicemail.
Yeah.
Then you can click on leave voicemail and then the system will automatically leave your pre-recorded voicemail.
Wow.
For that type of client. Yep. And then if like, for example, line 2 picks up, right, then you could answer that line. And then let's say what happens, I got asked this question all the time. What happens if 2 people pick up? Then like, what do you do? It's kind of not nice, but there's a pre-recorded one as well. Okay. Where you can pretend like you can't hear them. So you have a pre-recorded, like almost like message that says like, hello, hello, hello. Yeah. Because you're on the other line. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So like if 2 people pick up, I know.
Wow. And this is before AI.
This is before AI.
Whoa. Okay.
Because AI didn't really take off until when? Like 2018, 19? Yeah. 19? Yeah. This was definitely before AI. Yeah.
Wow. That's super cool. I didn't even, I feel like I've just been in the dark. I didn't know there was a triple dialer.
It worked until it didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a few years. Yeah.
So did you gain the return on investment on it or?
Oh, I would say yes and no. I would say yes and no. There were periods of time where I did, and then there were periods and that's what ended kind of that phase, I would call it, of my team. And I did let go of those inside sales agents in 2019. Yeah. because it wasn't working anymore. Yeah.
Wow.
Financially.
What a journey. I mean, it's just listening to this. You've done I think you and I can relate, where I'm willing to try anything at least once a year. So like this year, I'm trying a different approach to getting builder business. So I'm investing in that. But if it doesn't work, I give it a full year. And if it doesn't work, I cancel it, use something else,
You pivot.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting to see the things you've done throughout the years leading up to 2017. And you're still crushing it. Your numbers are going up, but you're trying different things. And it doesn't go without some pain. And I think so many people think that building a business is so easy. And the stories that you're talking about, are just, they can be painful at times.
They can be very painful. Yeah. And 2017 also was one of the years. So I would say 2016, 2017, and even into like 2018, 19 a little bit. Those few years, I think I tried to take on too much. And let me kind of explain. So I try to expand. Like my mentality at the time was I want all the things. I want everything. So whether it's a listing all the way out in Timbuktu or all the way south, or I didn't care. I wanted everything. Okay. Right. And I learned a lot from that time period that like, no, Alice, you don't want everything, because it did a couple of things that was pretty damaging. It stretched our resources very thin, and our time was not well spent, because if I took a listing outside of my area of expertise, right, super far out, it just meant that then I didn't have time to delegate to something in my area.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just a different mindset that I had at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we talked about this before, is that if you're wasting your time on something that you think is going to work, it's one deal, you're missing 3 or 4 other deals.
You could be missing. Yes.
So I think that's very wise to bring up. But well, that's it for 2017.
That's it. That's a wrap.
We'll just leave it on the table with the picture. Just kidding. Just joking. So no, I really appreciate, seriously, every episode that we have, I'm so like in tune with what you're doing and listening, and it's almost like a personal coaching from Alice Chen.
Oh my goodness.
I'm serious. I'm learning a lot. So thank you so much for your 2017, and we will see you on the next episode of Alice Chen. We're going to get into 2018 and see what happens.
Sounds great.